Yes.
Let's talk real estate.
Yes.
So, you know the show is on your hand right now. You want to give us the introduction and what's the topic of today?
Well, what's up, everybody? This is Crystal Terry with Real Talk in Real Estate. And I'm here today to talk to you guys about credit. I've invited my good friend. We work together hand in hand on a lot of loans, Marcellus Sanderson. He's with Caliber Loans. And today we'll be talking to you guys about credit. Now, so many times I run into so many clients of mine that have no idea about credit. And I said, you know what, this will be a good topic to talk to people about, because you have to have a basis when you start life. And a lot of times when kids start out young and graduating high school, they're introduced to credit. And in that introduction, you get bombarded with credit card companies. I know that when I was in college, when I first started college, I had 10 credit cards. And a lot of the credit cards were for department stores, you know, Macy's, and back then it was Montgomery Ward's and Dillard's and all the department stores that I liked, Victoria's Secret. And I basically went out there and established my credit. So today, we will be talking about credit and how to establish yourself in this world and how that can either make you or break you. And so I just want to introduce my good friend, Marcellus Sanderson. If you can introduce yourself.
Hey there, Crystal. Thank you for the warm introduction. My name is Marcellus Sanderson with Caliber Home Loans. I've been in the mortgage industry for a little over 8 years now, and I've seen all varieties of credit, from the worst of the worst to the best, and everything in between. It's certainly a privilege. I thank you and John for inviting me here to discuss the advantages of having good credit, and most importantly, hopefully to be able to explain to everybody that bad credit is not the end of the world. You can do something about it, and it's easier than you think.
Well, good. So we want to just first start out in saying that in our world of real estate, in the mortgage industry, like Marcella says, we see all type of credit. You know, we see bad, we see good, we see, you know, in between. And I just want to first start out and ask you a question, Marcellus. How do you start out in building your credit?
Well, the first thing...
I guess my first question is, what is the minimum credit score? Like what do you start at?
Well, you start with nothing.
Okay.
No credit score.
Okay, so zero?
Zero. Well,
okay.
Yes, we can say that it's zero, but for myself, if I pull your credit report, I'm going to be pulling the Fair Isaac credit report. And if you have no history, then you're not going to have a score. One of the first things that's best to understand is that your credit score is a reflection of your payment history with your creditors. And if you have no history, then there's not going to be a score there. Now, without discussing anyone's specific situations, obviously, privacy of information, the lowest scores that I've personally seen are, you know, the high 400s, 480, 485, and that would be, you know, someone whose credit report is comprised simply of collections. And although you've never had any credit extended to you, the fact that those collections have now been turned over to your credit report, it's going to generate a score for you. And that score, to anyone who pulls it, myself or other banks, lenders, says that individual right there has a history of not paying anyone.
Okay. So, what if you don't have a credit score? Like, what if you're just fresh, you have no credit? How can you establish credit?
Great question. Thanks for asking. One of the easiest things that you can do is open up a secured credit card, and it's really, it's gotten a bad name. And it's kind of gotten a bad rap.
Now, what do you mean secured credit card?
Well, your secured credit cards compared to your unsecured credit cards means that it's going to be, you're going to have to place money on that card in order to have available credit. Now, the first thing is, the first question that the person may ask is, well, that doesn't sound like credit at all. Well, you place a $200 balance on that card. You open up that card and they're gonna be required to put $200 on that card not to have any money to spend, but you will receive a bill each month that you'll be responsible for paying. And that bill will be reported to your credit bureaus, which will help to generate those scores. And because you don't have any established credit, and the lender themselves aren't really extending you any credit, there's really no risks to them, which is why most individuals start there in establishing that credit.
So would you go to, like, where would you go to get secured credit or unsecured credit?
The best thing that you could do is ask Google. Google, the information for everything is right there at your fingertips. And there are a variety of different credit card offers out there. The most important piece of information that I would give anyone in that type of scenario is to always read the fine print, because all credit cards are going to have different fees, startup fees and things like that. And a secured credit card isn't something that you're wanting to get yourself tied into for an extended amount of time. It's just a stair step towards establishing some credit until someone is able to offer you an unsecured card, which means that here you go, here's $500 that I am now going to extend to you and trust that you will make your monthly payments on time and eventually pay that balance off.
So typically, I guess if I am a senior in high school and I'm trying to get ready for college, and my parents don't have good credit, and so I'm trying to apply for student loans, and I don't have any credit, would you advise me to get a secured credit card?
Well, Crystal, I can't speak for everyone out there, but
Just in general, it's like a general statement. Like if you are a young person trying to establish credit, or someone that's never established credit, would we, go to a bank and try to, we have $500, we're trying to build our credit, would we just like go to a local bank and try to do that? Or like, where do you
can
advise?
start with your local banks, but one thing I would like to, one piece of advice I would like to give to all of the, newly high school seniors, all those who have just recently come out of high school, getting ready to start their collegiate career, and most of them have experienced this, is that onslaught of credit card offers that you're now beginning to receive. Because you're 18, you just popped up on the credit radar for everyone out there who wants to, quote unquote, help you get your credit established. So take a couple of cards and go through these items with your parents, with your mentors, with your teachers, your pastors at your church, your elders, and get their advice as well to decide which two are going to be the best that are going to help to serve me. Because when you turn 18, there's no shortage of companies out there wanting to, like I said, quote unquote, help you to get your credit established. Now, you can start at your local bank, but most of the time you can start right at your mailbox, because those credit cards. Do you remember when you were graduating and
I remember.
mailbox was full and you were just happy to be getting mail in your name?
But you know what? When I was 18, my situation was a little different. My grandmother had excellent credit, and she had put me on her credit card. And so my credit score jumped from whatever the low is to 800 and something.
Let's give a round of applause to Grandma.
Thanks, Grandma.
That is a great piece of advice.
You must be, you was a good kid.
I was. I got my first car at 16 and got it in her name and paid it off, and I established her credit more, but not mine. So when it was time to establish mine, she was like, I'm gonna put you on my credit card, but you can't use it. Like I didn't have access at all to it. So when it was time for me, yeah. So when it was time for me to get student loans and everything, I was able to establish that already because I had the credit of her credit.
Well, I think that's a great starting point of advice, not only for establishing credit, but also for all the parents out there to give your kids a springboard into the credit world, is by making them authorized users or co-signers on your credit card accounts that have history. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that your credit score is a reflection of your history.
Right.
The older that account is, the more benefit that it's doing for your credit score.
Exactly.
Versus a card that you just had for 6 months compared to a card that you've had for years. That 4-year account with that one-time payment history is doing wonders for your credit card. It's doing wonders for your credit report and for your credit scores because it has the most history there.
Okay.
Yes, and I have a question here. One of the gentlemen sent a question from Oleta, Kansas.
Okay.
All right.
They say, how does having an adjustable rate mortgage hurt my credit score?
Would you like to answer that?
Well, the first way it's going to hurt your credit scores if you're not making your mortgage payments on time.
Oh, okay.
Late payments on any one of your accounts is going to hurt you. I like to use the analogy of picture your credit report as a balloon, and each account that you have open is a tank of helium. For every one-time payment that you make, you're putting helium into that balloon, which is going to help your credit scores to go up. Any late payments, collection accounts, judgments, bankruptcies, charge-offs, it's like hanging weights on that balloon. It's going to keep your balloon from rising. The more recent that late payment or collection or derogatory account is, the closer you're tying that weight to the knot of that balloon. So if you have an adjustable rate mortgage that's getting ready to go into its adjustment period and your payments are going to go up, do what you can to get yourself onto a fixed interest rate, because if they move to a point that you can no longer afford them, those late payments are going to begin to drag your scores down.
So, can you explain to the audience what an adjustable rate is and typically how often do they adjust normally?
Adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs. That's an acronym for adjustable rate mortgage. And what it means is that your mortgage will have a fixed period, typically 3, 5, or 7 years. After that fixed period has ended, your rate will begin to adjust. Now, there are different types of ARMs and different adjustment periods. Each ARM will have a ceiling or a cap as to how much it can adjust and how often it can adjust. And because of the variety of them are so vast, and I really don't want to give everyone out there information overload.
Right.
If you are considering getting into an adjustable rate mortgage, be sure that your loan officer, your mortgage consultant, is giving you a full disclosure of information of what's going to happen after that fixed rate period is ended.
And Marcellus, can you give us your contact information?
Oh yeah, of course. You can reach me on my cell phone at 913-602-5651. That's the best mode of communication to reach me at. If for whatever reason you miss me there, please leave a message. I'll definitely get back to you. Availability and communication is the foundation of my business. You can also email me at Marcellus, that's MARCELIS .Sanderson, just like Anderson with an S at the front, at caliberhomeloans.com.
Okay, so basically, if I am let's say that I have a traveling job.
All right.
And I know that I'm only going to be in Kansas City for 3 to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to rent. I want to buy a home. And so would you suggest an adjustable rate mortgage for that particular person because they know that they're not going to be in the house long? And if at the end of those 3 to 5 years, most likely they'll be selling the house? Or what would you suggest for a young entrepreneur that travels a lot in their job or doesn't plan on staying in it?
Entrepreneur being the key part in that, not to cut across you, but an entrepreneur being the key part in that. Anyone who's going to be looking at an adjustable rate mortgage, one needs to know the details surrounding that type of product. Now, because of the economic downfall that we had back in 2008 that really started with the housing market, ARMs and adjustable rate mortgages have kind of gotten a bad rap.
Right.
But for the right individual, they are a really great product because it allows you to get in at a rate that typically will be lower than your 30 or 15-year fixed interest rates, which allows you to get a cheaper monthly payment for that home that you have in there, for that home that you're taking a look at, and will allow you to maximize your monthly revenue to invest it in, once again, for your entrepreneurs, let your money make money for you because you're not putting it into your home. But if you know that you will only be in that home for 3 to 5 years without beyond a shadow of a doubt, then that's certainly a product that could be good for you.
Okay. Well, great. Well, we're about to go to a short break and we'll be back here in a minute.